Now, the Umkhonto weSizwe party says that the process that led to the adoption of the report yesterday in Parliament is flawed. The National Assembly voted in favour of the budget that was tabled by Finance Minister Enoch Godongwana by 194 votes to 182 with no abstentions. The budget's passing came after heated debate and allegations of irregularities, with opposition parties fiercely contesting key provisions, particularly the proposed 0.5 percentage point increase in value-added tax. Now, for further reaction, we joined virtually now by MK Party Member of Parliament, Colleen Makhubele. Colleen, thanks so much for your time. Welcome to Morning Live. Firstly, the Democratic Alliance has announced it will file papers in the Western Cape High Court to challenge the passing of the budget. The MK Party's position, are you also filing papers?
Good morning, Sakina. Thank you for having us and greetings to the viewers out there. Yes, indeed, we are also looking at the legal options to file papers, and consultations started last night. And we do believe the process was flawed. The members that are part of the committee, the SCOFA committee that said 2 days ago, I was also in attendance at that committee. We made it clear that the Money Bills Act and all other legislations that govern the budgeting process and the approval of that fiscal framework and the revenue proposal was not followed. They have used some logic that is outside the provisions of the law to then find a way to want some 30 days review with the Minister of Finance. That does not exist. And in fact, Sakina, 1st of May, South Africans must brace themselves for VAT increase, because once the minister has announced, that's it, he has pronounced it. To reverse that, it's a different process that must be undertaken. So this whole scam of provisional approval, it does not exist, or conditional approval, as they put it with Action SA. It's really a scam to the public. There's nothing of the sort. And that's what we are going to show in the court of law. And we hope that we can get the proper relief. We believe that South Africa, as we see it, we don't have a budget. That budget is illegal.
So you say that you hope that the courts will provide a proper relief. What does that mean? And what would that entail in terms of the process of adopting this budget? Because many South Africans are also concerned about not having this budget approved and how it will impact on their daily lives.
I think most South Africans are more concerned about, in fact, the impact of this current budget, the GNU budget as it stands now, because of the VAT hike is going to hit the poor and the most vulnerable the most. The adjustment in the personal income tax brackets is going to hit the middle class the most, because we are all crept into higher brackets now. You know, there's no provision, there's no immediate relief for South Africans, you know, in terms of the high food prices, etc. So their concern now is more of the impact of what this budget is going to do to their day-to-day living and the affordability of the cost of life. And our constituency, for sure, has given us the green light, and even the Progressive Caucus constituencies, they've given us the green light to go and review this, because they're getting poorer and poorer. The rich are left alone. We have put alternative measures to say, let's tax the ultra-rich. Let us deal with the wastage in the municipalities. Over 20 billion is missing in the cities, Gauteng metros. And there is nothing in that budget that talks about finding that money, cutting wasteful expenditure, etc. But we just want to penalize the people more and more. So the people want us to do this. Sakina, if you look at this humiliating win, the ANC only won by help of Action SA and the other smaller parties by 12 votes. That's a disgrace, 12 votes. That tells you that almost half of the House, which represent half of South Africans, said no, rejected this. It's not something they should celebrate. By themselves, ANC have lost this. Their people had not approved this. So if you analyze it properly, it's not a win. It's humiliating. It's desperate. They should have allowed the proper process in the committee to take place. Let us all go back, take 2-3 days, amend that framework, the fiscal framework, and the revenue proposal, then all of us come up with a budget that we feel will address the needs of the people first and foremost, deal with the wastage in the municipalities, tax the ultra-rich, and also try and find money where we know money is hiding, illicit outflows of money, etc. And also just provide immediate relief to South Africans. We are struggling with this high food cost and the cost of living. And those are the things that all the parties would want to see, food on the table of South Africans through this budget. Currently, as it is, ANC just wanted to say face, win it at all costs. But it means nothing to an ordinary South African, but more payments out of their pockets.
You mentioned the narrow victory by which the ANC and those parties that voted along with it were able to pass this budget, the fiscal framework. And I've seen people say, well, if members were present in the National Assembly, singling out in some instances MK members who were not there, there could have possibly been a different outcome, possibly. It is a moot point at this juncture, but, you know, you mentioned it, and this is what people are saying.
Indeed, it's true. If you remember, Sakina, out of the 58 total members of MK, we are 8 short because of a court process, so they can only come in after June. That's a legality that we have to comply with. There's nothing we can do about that. So the 8 members can only come in after June. It's not that they were absent from the House. The only true absentees from the House, which had party responsibilities, were 3 individuals. You know, our party leader and national spokesperson, Tlamulo, was not there, and another member who had serious family matters that he was dealing with. It was only 3 absenteeism. And indeed, you are correct. If we had if this was June, we had the full complement of the MK party members, indeed we'll be talking a different story today.
And of course, it seems like the GNU is at breaking point. What will happen, time will tell. But if it fails, where would that leave MKP? Is there a possibility? Is MKP open to getting into conversations with the ANC about a way forward, possibly, or other parties? I'm sure you, as the MK party, are also watching what's happening in the GNU. So what are your thoughts of where you're likely to go?
Indeed, the whole world, the whole nation is watching what is happening with curiosity. As MK Party, we've always said this marriage of convenience of GNU with ideological, diverse parties that have values that are just conflicting was never going to last. It was a good-for-nothing unity, wasted South Africa's time. The question you're asking is very fundamental. It rests above my paycheck. I'm just a whip of communication. But if that is going to happen, our stance is clear. We need to see common values. We want to see our people's mandate being implemented in government and pushing the values that MK stands for. So it's not just going to be because we want to be in government, we jump in. I'm sure our leaders will look at various aspects that will make us to fulfill the people's mandate that we promised them out there. If that is possible, I guess we'll get direction. But at this stage, I think that GNU, indeed, it is finished. It was not even supposed to have started in the first place. It wasted South African time. You know, DANC, they knew that they were only doing that, you know, just to get blue lights and get perks and protect each other's corruption. But it wasn't going to last. And here we are today. Let's see how the next few days pans out.
Indeed. Well, thanks for your time. That was Umkhonto weSizwe Party's Colleen Makhubele speaking to us about Parliament passing the 2025 fiscal framework.